I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body.
All right, guys, welcome back to another N.Y.A top 5 episode. Unfortunately, it's just going to be me and Rob today. Schedules be what they are. After a hurricane went through Florida, Rikki's baseball schedule got a little screwy, and so unfortunately, Rikki's not going to be able to join us, but it is what it is. So, of course, here's Rob.
Hello, everybody.
That was a delay. AKA Dormammu. And before we get too far into this, I wanted to acknowledge a little whoopsie that happened the last time we did our top 5s. We read off everyone else's entries. Due to YouTube doing what it do, I could not actually see Christine's comment when we recorded that. It has since popped up, because the main reason was she included the links to the individual songs in that one, and that was the top 5 live action TV show themes, which I thought was a really good episode. So I'm going to read off Christine's list real quick before we get started on today's theme. Everybody on board? Okay.
Yep.
So now the main thing is she included the links in case nobody knew the song she was talking about, but given our crowd here, I don't think we'll have an issue. All right, so she doesn't have an honorable mention, but her number 5 is the Welcome Back Kotter theme, which I remember that show to a degree way back in the day.
Welcome back.
Yes, exactly. That's been used in commercials and everything else since. So yeah, and the next one, her number 4, I thought about after the fact. Dukes of Hazzard, Good Old Boys by Waylon Jennings. Like, somehow we didn't include that. Nobody's like,
It did
Dukes
wind
of
up
Hazzard.
on top 40 though. It did wind up on a country top 40. Just the good old boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
Never knew no harm.
But then you're also fearful to place it on a list because of culture being what it is, and then you wonder if somebody's going to take
because other people take offense at stupid shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, the song
It
is
doesn't
the song.
represent
The song isn't
policies.
doing anything. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the song.
No, it's good old fashioned Waylon Jennings. It is classic Waylon Jennings too.
Yes, it is.
If you don't understand that the song was not specifically, while it was written for the show, it is not specifically just for the show.
No, it works in normal.
It is a
everyday
perfect
music.
tailgating. It's a perfect tailgating song.
Indeed, especially for anybody from the South.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
Oops.
Well, not even anybody from the South.
Yeah, but you don't tend to think of Good Old Boys from other places.
Hey, listen,
you don't
there are good old
tend
boys
to.
in Canada too.
I'm aware of this. We will discuss that on the normal episode when we get to it. All right, her number 3 was the show Justified. I'm barely familiar with it, but it's A Long Hard Times to Come by Gangsta Grass.
Yeah, that is actually pretty good.
I did
not watch a lot of Justified, but I've heard the song, and yes, it does matter. It's a good one.
Yep, and she also has an alternate theme, You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive by Daryl Scott. I guess that's also tied to Justified. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a secondary theme. I don't know. Another one I thought of actually while listening back to the episode, when it went live. Her number 2 is the theme song to True Blood, Bad Things by Jace Everett.
Pretty good.
That's
Still
a good
a little
one.
Newish. Yeah, it is.
Dude, I put Game of Thrones on there. Don't talk about newish.
I know. Well, we're calling iconic. So if she feels it's iconic,
it is iconic.
I'll agree with it.
To the point that I've heard other modern songs that clearly took inspiration from that song. I was like,
right, this
sounds like the theme song to True Blood. And then last but certainly not least is the show Strike Back, which I've never heard of. And the song is Short Change Heroes by The Heavy.
Absolutely, and yes.
I don't know this one.
I have not seen the show, but that was my theme in 2020. It is one of the best single tracks.
Okay.
That's
a nice theme. Yeah. That's a nice theme. Never heard of the show.
Oh, I
So
absolutely love Shortchange Heroes too. So that's me.
excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Christine. I do apologize deeply because she did give me shit about it. But you know,
The heavy is
it,
also the heavy. By the way, if you listen to music, anybody,
mhm.
the heavy, their discography quite good.
Nice. Okay, so we're not going to have too many additional comments, but we do already do have some for today's topic, which was a really quick response from everybody. I did not expect, so yay for that. So today, kind of piggybacking off of that top 5 theme, we're actually doing top 5 songs associated to TV shows, such as you hear the song and your brain goes this show, this moment, whatever, like that, but they're not the main theme song, or even technically like a secondary theme, but a song within a show that has either become iconic enough due to its use, whether that's a specific scene, a specific episode, something like that, but it is something that is instantly like that's your reference. So, okay. That's funny. Oh, that's great. uh That's funny. Because Will decided to not play along this time in the comment section. So just I'm reading this because I just saw the comment. So he said, "I'll set this one out, and I don't want any lip out of you, Shoky." So I replied, "Pitter patter, let's get at her." Um, which everyone on this show is now very familiar with that. And so he
I
replied,
understood that reference.
"You
Yes.
understood that reference."
Mhm.
So he replied, you know. So Christine replied to Will. I said, "Pitter patter, let's get at her. Heard the rooster crow. If you ain't woke, doesn't matter, 'cause it's time to go. A hard day's work. Get it in early. Yeah, buckle up. We're gonna get your hands dirty, or we gonna get your hands dirty." That's funny. So there's a whole comment thread just around that. So let's see. Actually, let's see if
Nice.
Christine replied entirely. I don't even know if she threw one in there. But either way, I'll read off everyone else's comments near the end. So we'll get through this as quickly as possible here in a second. And I will let you go first with your honorable mentions if you have one, Rob, or multiple.
Okay, so my honorable mention. So okay, so do you want to explain what the top 5 of this was?
I did.
Okay. Okay.
Were you not listening?
No, I was listening. So okay, it's basically so personally, I
Hmm.
am a soundtrack listener. I love soundtracks. It's my thing. It's my jam. So it's hard to pinpoint for me certain songs. There's only out of my top 5 list, there's only literally one that is actually a single song from a TV show. The rest are all literally soundtracks from said TV shows.
Yeah.
But
So
my honorable mentions were really more, and I
you've
tried.
adapted the list a bit.
Yeah, well,
See,
and
I
the problem
have all
is,
specific songs.
yeah, yeah, I
Everybody
don't
else
have all
also
specific
does.
songs, but yeah, yeah. But okay, so my honorable mentions are actually from the animated categories,
Oh, fair
because my
point.
top
Because
5 are all
I
from the
so I didn't. Yeah, I didn't specify.
yeah. So
That's my bad. I didn't specify live action or animated, so that's fine.
totally fine, totally fine. My top 3 honorable mentions are the soundtrack for Cowboy Bebop,
Okay.
the soundtrack to Samurai Champloo,
Okay. Which is funny because
and
you went anime with this. Okay.
I sure did, and the soundtrack to the Afro Samurai.
Okay. So
So Cowboy Bebop is Yoko Kanno, and realistically, he composed a lot of the music to the show. Same Samurai Champloo was Nujabe's. Rip to Nujabe's. He passed away a few years back. And Afro Samurai was part RZA from the Wu
hmm
Tang Clan,
yep.
and kind of a mixture of other composers in there. But each has a distinct flavor because each was designed around a specific era of music, so to speak. And so to me, those are honorable mentions for their entire soundtracks because there are quite a few tracks that are really good. But you will always recognize, for example, the intro song for like Cowboy Bebop with
Sure.
Yoko Kanno's Tank. So if you want to use that as an honorable mention for a song that's used in the show, but also, it also works for the theme as well. So those are my honorable mentions.
Okay. So, because Rob's list is going to be pretty different, it's like, so, I mean, all of mine are specific nailed down songs for certain
Okay, so what were
shows.
your honorable mentions though?
Okay, so my honorable mention, I didn't do a whole lot because I just pulled this one out of my ass, was Green Day's Time of Your Life from the final episode of Seinfeld.
I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that works.
So to me, when I hear that song, that's where it goes because I think that was the debut of that song as well. It wasn't just the fact that it was the final episode of Seinfeld, everything's closing down, but then,
Mhm.
that was my reference for that song. I think even before it hit radio, I think it debuted there. So I could be wrong, but
Mhm.
that was the first time I heard it. But that is, I'm sure it's been used in movies and other things since. And here's the thing: it's
Mhm.
like all these lists are subjective, right? So
Right,
there's
correct.
probably other people who will hear the same song but have a different specific reference for it.
Right.
Your list, on the other hand, almost works as like top 5 soundtracks of TV shows.
True,
Uh,
true, true.
so you're bending the rules, but it's okay. It's
Sorry.
allowable. It's allowable for now. All right, number 5.
Number 5. Now in this case it would be and I will give a specific song from, but it also the entire soundtrack is quite good, and that would be Moon Knight.
Oh, very good.
Bob
Yep.
Dylan, Every Grain of Sand.
Actually, yeah, I'm
It's
with you.
it's actually quite a good song, works very well with the show. But the entire soundtrack for Moon Knight is also really good. And it's because the 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 director for the music chose very specific tracks that were more aligned with European influences, whether
Egyptian.
that was Egyptian music, Egyptian rap, or
I like
even
that soundtrack.
yeah,
It's
so
really,
it
especially
has
the outro music is usually or a
mhm,
little bit different, or there's a
yeah,
closing song
Warda,
over the credits every
yeah.
time.
So some of the artists are Warda, DJ Kaboo. It's and the thing about it is there's translations, and if you actually look up the translations for some of the songs
hmm
against the show, the episodes, you're like, oh man, that really fit very well. It's like, oh, you're talking about things that actually pertain to the show, and it's like,
hmm
but it was not written for it. It was just they happened to
and
find this music.
and there's other songs in there included that are about identity and like who are
Hmm.
you, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I-
but Dylan is kind
but
of the
that's a
most
good one. No,
recognizable,
that
so
that is a
that's
good
why I
one
kind
there.
of include that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good one. All right.
Yep.
So for my number 5 is Kenny Loggins' "Danger Zone" from Archer.
That works, yeah. And that's been used in
Yes,
several other shows too, yeah.
exactly. But because Archer himself loves the song and he loves Kenny Loggins, he references Danger Zone all the damn time. And then they
Mhm.
actually got to have Kenny Loggins on the show perform a new version of Danger Zone with Charlene, if I remember it's Charlene. That's what she was calling herself at the time. So like it became,
Mhm.
it's one of those songs that like while it's never really gone away, and of course it's the theme song, Top Gun, all that, like for some reason it like has come back as a major thing because of Archer. So I guess
Yep.
obviously, yeah, live action went out the window because I included Archer. So it was never strictly live action. So you didn't break the rules there because it was never established. All right. I mean, there's other songs in Archer too, but that's a big one because that's like his thing. So,
Right.
all right, number 4.
My number 4 is actually the soundtracks the some of the a lot of the songs in the soundtrack to Letterkenny.
Okay. I will.
Sounds weird, but I actually think a lot of it fits in very well with how they do a lot of the scenes and the endings of the shows.
Yeah. So there's a lot of heavy French Canadian like rap and pop kind of influence with a little bit like some not
Yeah,
not
the
really
Prima
country.
Donnas,
There's some
Anakin
other stuff.
Slade,
Um
Japanther, which if you've never heard them, you really should. It's quite good.
That's funny. You guys, ever since I told you about this show, have kind of gone off the deep end slightly. Which we'll talk about more in the main episode when we record here in a bit. So it won't be the first time you hear about just me and Rob here. So, is there any that stand out a little bit more than the others though? Because I don't know, having plowed through that show, I can't think of one that really stands out to me.
Unfortunately, not at this time.
Like there's now, because you haven't gotten there yet, Shorzy, there's a song that plays right at the end of Shorzy, episode or season 1, and that, whatever that song is, I'll look it up in my own time. That song will forever be stuck with me because of that moment. So it's that emotional influence when something happens, when a song sticks with you. So once again, you can't watch Shorzy until you've gotten through season 10. Because it's like you can, but the setup for it is in season 10.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly.
You're missing the minor context of how Shorzy got there. So either way, all right, number 4, right? That's where we're at.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, did you? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was your number 4. This is my number 4. Okay. Yep. So my number 4 is the Rolling Stones. You Can't Always Get What You Want, from House. So that song gets used repeatedly. I think maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the series. But there's one episode when it first comes in where it's like really important to the theme of the episode. Where it's kind of like everybody's trying their best to get to a specific outcome, and it just doesn't get there. Like it's one of those episodes that ends on a downer, not an upper kind of situation. But that also really fits in with House as a whole. Like, because he is just a miserable piece of crap. Like, he's lost so much throughout his life. He's a massive drug addict, alcoholic, all these things. And he just never gets to be happy. And even when he finally does get to be happy, it's his own screwed up head that takes that away from him. So, like, really the right. Underlying theme of House is you don't always get what you want, or you can't always get what you want in the first place. So, I hear that song, I immediately think of like the pan over the hospital, that happens like throughout almost every episode. So that's where my brain goes now whenever I hear that. So that's my reference for that. If that makes sense to everybody out there in the world, not just you. Oh, hold on, we have a visitor popping in here.
Wow, I just wasn't sure if I lost Shoky.
No,
what happened?
Yep. Rikki popped in, sort of.
You hear me?
Are you there now?
I thought you were.
I just
get some rest.
I literally just walked in the door from work.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I thought.
Literally just walked through the door.
Yeah, I figured you weren't gonna have time to do anything with bouncing back and forth.
You said till 4, and that's exactly when I got to leave to go to baseball. So
okay, well we're in the middle of the top 5.
Drop in real quick.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the top 5, literally.
Well, y'all go ahead and keep doing your top 5, and I'll just listen to this because I didn't understand the assignment.
Okay, yeah. So Rikki just popped in. He doesn't have the list, but he can comment on ours, so it's fine.
I'll just talk shit.
Yeah. So realistically, it's songs that are associated with TV shows that are not the main theme. So like I just said, so my number 4 right now was the Rolling Stones. You Can't Always Get What You Want, but associated through House.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then prior to that was Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone from Archer. Yep. And then Time of Your Life from Green Day and Seinfeld.
Nice.
So, and then Rob went a different direction, and he's associating soundtracks, but not necessarily specific songs.
Gotcha. So yeah, I would have never got this one.
Yeah, it makes more. It sort of makes sense as you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So Rob, your number.
It's a little harder too because you're thinking like, okay, what songs have I heard during shows? But then like it's in passing, so then you're like, oh, that didn't, either become an earwig or.
No, what's funny is it was real easy for me. This was a real easy list. Like
the Danger Zone one would have probably been one I would have got to eventually. Thinking about it.
Well, there's a couple in here that'll be real obvious when we get there. So, Rob, you're number 3.
So my number 3 is Mr. Blue Sky by ELO.
Nice. From
and that is a specific song
from Breaking Bad.
Because not just Breaking Bad.
Okay, so where's your
not just Breaking Bad? Breaking Bad, Doctor Who, and several other shows.
Okay, so give me the specific one though for you, because it
so
might be a different
one
reference.
for me. The specific one for me is the Doctor Who reference, and that would be the attack of the Toclafane, and where the Master
that's
takes
right.
over the entire planet.
You're right.
And he's basically like, rejoicing with the Doctor.
Yeah.
To show him exactly what he's done. So
nice. Okay,
that's a good one. So
that's
now a quick question for the framing of this. Does it have to be a legitimate song, or does it have to be like a song that as soon as anybody even mentions the lyrics, it makes me think of a show?
Yes.
So like if I said
be like, either or,
like if somebody said Get Swifty and it made me immediately think about Rick and Morty, that would be one.
If it, I mean, considering what they've done with Get Swifty, that would technically count.
Okay.
Like, because it's become bigger than its own thing. Yeah,
I'm trying to get my brain thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's easier when it's real music, but if it's, well, I mean, like Rob just did literally the entire Letterkenny soundtrack that he's heard so far, but he didn't have a specific one thing. He's also
the one at the wedding song.
The wedding one was good. You're right.
Fuck the pain away or something like that.
Yes, that. Yeah. So I mean, okay, so we're gonna get to it in the regular episode because you guys have been plowing through Letterkenny, but whoever does the music for the show is just fantastic.
They compile it very well.
It's very, very well.
I love like all the fight songs, like when they go slow motion fights. Like the one of the last episodes I just watched, it was like a very operatic, like an aria type thing over the top of it. It wasn't the Flowers duet, but it was something very similar. Like it made me immediately think of the Flowers duet. Like I was very like that was super cool.
All right, so my number 3 is Jimi Hendrix / Bear McCreary, All Along the Watchtower from Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
Because
very nice choice,
dude,
and really literally the best use of that song.
Yeah. So the way they integrated that song in like multiple ways into the plot of the show is crazy, because the entire run of that season up till that point, they had been dropping tiny hints of it. And because Bear McCreary really twisted that song a lot, you didn't know what you were hearing until it really started going and they were playing more of the chorus. But then the reveal when Starbuck figures it out on the piano with her quote unquote ghost dad. And then that's also the song that called the final 5 together. And then it ultimately leads to the final plot in the entire thing and how it's all circled around Starbuck. Just fantastic.
Yep.
So that one I pulled out.
Funny that you mentioned that song, because I just mentioned it earlier. I was listening to the Bobby Boogie Bop this month.
Sure.
And I had mentioned that they were talking about one of the Guns N' Roses Sympathy for the Devil.
Yes.
And I put in the comments, I was like, that is my, like, a cover that I like better than the original, that one is tied for second place, and my first place one is All on the Watchtower by Hendrix. Like, that is the penultimate version of a cover song that completely blew the original out of the fucking water. Yeah. I can't even listen to the Bob Dylan version. It hurts my fucking ears to listen to it, and it feels like him shitting on the cover. So I love that Hendrix song. That is.
So see, that's why I didn't give credit to the Bob Dylan version, because they're basing that cover off of the Hendrix version, and with the really crazy,
the guitar riffs,
and it's super trippy. Like, especially the Bear McCreary version is super trippy.
It's very driving. But you mentioned it, it made me immediately think of that. I just made that comment earlier. Like I love that cover of that song. Yeah. It is one of my favorites. Well, it is my favorite cover, but
nice.
And that was a good tie-in in that show, like you said, how they used it seemed like such a small thing, but they tied everything to that moment and pushed it all the way to the end, which was really
the fact that all of the final 5 were hearing it, and then Kara played it on the piano, and it pulled them all together.
Yeah,
so
like that's crazy. That's a lot of thinking and writing and pre-thought into your writing and what you're going to do with it to build it off of that one little tiny pinpoint and move it outwards and keep it all connected properly.
Yeah, and then the what the notes actually were used for finally is even more insane. So moving on to Rob's number 2.
So my number 2 is Bulletproof Love by Method Man from the Luke Cage soundtrack. But the Luke Cage soundtrack itself, really good enough that I went and I hunted down every song that they had played on it.
That is a good
because
soundtrack.
it's hard to find a properly compiled list of all the songs that were done for season 1, season 2.
You think they would have made a soundtrack available for that, because that was a good soundtrack.
They have, but it's still not complete because they didn't get all the approvals from all the artists. Yeah.
Is there not an internet music database?
Oh, of course there is. You can find it all.
But then you have to go hunt it all down individual,
which is what I'm saying. I actually did go and hunt it all down, but that one definitely was. It was written for the show, and it suits the show, and it suits the pacing so well out of it for sure. And it's used several times for the backbeat in a lot of the scenes too.
Yeah, I like it when they do that. Well, they'll strip it down, remove the lyrics, and they'll just use the backbeat or just a bridge of the song as background music, or for a driving part of something else, and it's just kind of in there.
Yeah, and it's not so much that it's like it's a rap song because it's Method Man, but he wrote it in a way that like you can it just flows. It flows very well. So, and if, like I said, it fit the show to me. Like it's definitely something like you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, that slams.
That slams. As the kids say.
Hear Rob say that slaps is the whitest thing I think I've heard.
He didn't even say slaps. He said slams.
I didn't say slaps. I said slams.
That's why it's worse.
Oh my God, you made it more white. You poured milk on top of it. Jesus.
No, I think he made it sound brown.
Poopy.
Yep. So my number 2 is a tie because it comes from the same show, and it's Journey's Separate Ways, and Kate Bush is running up that hill.
I already know where you're going.
Stranger Things.
Yep.
Duh.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I'm so tired of that Kate Bush version of that song, though, man, because of that. I love Placebo's version of that song.
And yeah, you've mentioned that before. My biggest thing about it is, like, once again, it's songs associated to the show.
Yep.
It's like,
immediately think about it.
These, now, Running Up That Hill be what it is, and I've listened to so many other people covering it because of my other channel. I've really come to appreciate it because of the different ways people have covered it. But the Stranger Things version of Separate Ways is so fucking good because of the way they cut it for the trailer.
It's like haunting and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So it's not the normal version, and you can find it. You can find it on YouTube, both versions of it. But from the soundtrack, it's actually cut for the way they used it in the trailer, and
it's very slowed down too.
Yeah, not super slowed down, but it's like maybe a half beat behind the normal. But it's just the way it is, an extra haunting bit, the way they use it, back and forth, and then the use of silence and spacing to, even though they're using it for the trailer, builds suspense so much more than the regular track does. And that's one of those times where Netflix cut a good trailer. Yeah.
Yes, agreed. I was just about to say that as one of the few times Netflix ever did a good
trailer. That trailer hooked me so fucking hard. And it was because of that song. Like, I almost didn't care, but the fact that they made also that song thematically 100% plays into the song or plays into the show. So like that's the other part of it.
Lines up with the story,
Yeah. All right. So
but there's a reason why it didn't wind up on my list, and it's purely because, like you said at the beginning, it's been used so many times, and it's been it's in such heavy rotation right now it makes it hard to make it on my list. Like
Mhm.
it's also a reason why there are a couple others that didn't make it, like Mad World.
Yeah.
Because it's just
That can be-
overblown at this
Yeah.
point.
Well, I can see
Or-
if you're annoyed by it, but also the
Yeah,
point of the
or
list.
like, you know, the phrase "how to save a life," because it's, you know,
that's on other people's lists.
I'm sure it
So
is.
so
And if
I
you
read
look,
ahead
you
on
know, if you-
comments.
yeah, I'm sure it
but
is.
it's like he was saying, like we're kind of talking about 1 week about something I don't remember, but we're like, it's like they locked onto, oh, you like that? Good, then we're going to use it repetitively on every single thing ever that you've ever heard is now going to have that song on it because you like that one commercial with it on there. And I hate when Hollywood in general commercials do it a lot.
Mhm.
They
We mentioned that
you
earlier.
like that one? We got a lot of good feedback on that song. Cool, we're going to use that song for everything.
Yep.
Here's a Kotex commercial with separate ways on it. I mean, y'all
I mean,
relax.
that would be a weird one.
Yeah,
That
but
would
I
be
mean,
more.
they'd make
That
it
would be
work.
a
They
Planned Parenthood commercial, probably.
No, they could do separate ways and just have them when they're peeling the sticky part off the pad, like
Oh,
the
God.
peel. The separate
No,
See, I'm
that's
already writing this shit for them. I guarantee
that's
we're
when
gonna
you
see it.
ruin something.
It's gonna happen
bad.
now. I've spoken into existence.
Let's not go there.
Marketing gone wrong. Now you got to also include when they
Okay.
do the pour test on the. Never mind.
Oh,
No,
Jesus.
No,
Pour
that's
some
Mis-
sugar
no, that's
on me?
Mr. Blue Sky. That's Mr. Blue Sky when they pour the blue liquid.
Yeah. Or tainted love.
Tainted
Yeah,
love.
for sure.
Yeah. No,
I mean, we can keep
no.
going.
Tainted love is a pregnancy test.
Oh God.
No. Tainted love is the HIV
The
test
STDs.
commercials.
Yes.
God.
There
The
we go.
STD test and stuff. Yes.
Oof.
Good times. Oh,
Since
man, that
Hulu
fucking got
seems
crazy.
obsessed with HIV in their ad.
Oh my God, the Hims and Hers commercials.
Recently,
Dude,
yes.
I
Make
commented
it
on it
stop,
the other
please.
day. It's absurd, is it not?
Gee, and I just press play so I can live my life. Like,
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yep. So
Yeah,
either
The
way,
problem,
wife was laughing at
is that I know they're trying to be helpful to people by providing a service product,
yeah.
but they do it in a way that makes you seem like you're not having a mental issue. You just can't get it up.
I press play.
Well, I watched I actually Kara like laughed at me about it because the first time I saw the Hers commercial for like it was like the antidepressant one or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's
That's-
some sexist ass bullshit. And she's
It
like, what
is.
are you talking about? I'm like, it's a woman talking about only woman needs this medication, and the name of the fucking company is Hers. And she's like, well, I guess that kind of is. And then like, the next commercial break came up and it was a His commercial.
Hims.
And she just started laughing. She's like, there, see, that's why it's not sexist, because
Well,
they have their own too.
Hims has been around for a long time though. So the fact that they have Hers now, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Right.
either way,
Well,
let's
my
move
wife
on.
was watching The Handmaid's Tale and she saw the commercial for one then the other, and she was like, "What in the fresh hell is this?"
Actually, it makes sense. It makes sense on The Handmaid's Tale.
It does.
It did not during MasterChef, trust me.
Nope. MasterChef would be a weird one for it.
It did not during MasterChef.
Especially with that really big blonde girl who's talking about depression.
The best one was my 10-year-old. He loves, like I've mentioned before, he likes to cook with me. That's like he really likes to cook, and he loves watching those cooking shows. Dad, what's erectile dysfunction? I was like, oh my God, here we go with this shit again, dude.
That's when
I'm
you
like,
can't
it's
get your
nothing,
Legos
man.
to stay.
Yeah, that's when your toys keep falling over and you have to put this.
Yes,
liquid on
actually,
there.
my Billy over here definitely has erectile dysfunction
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Mato Yoshi keeps falling repeatedly.
You gotta put some of that blue diamond Kiki.
Oh, it
oil
don't
on.
matter. It's still gravity. I think the shelf is leaning just a hair too much because it's the only shelf where shit continually falls. Either way, let's move on. Finish up this top 5 here. Rob, number 1.
All right.
So number 1, personal favorite, Carry On My Wayward Son, Kansas, used in
Nice.
Supernatural.
Yes.
Gee, I wonder
I'm
who
gonna
else
laugh.
is
That's
number
probably
1.
his.
That might be.
I'm gonna say that's got to be his too because he loves Supernatural, man.
Yep. That's my number 1 as well because
Good.
It just fits.
it works. It's worked since season 1.
Mhm.
Works all the way through season 15.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And actually the cover version that's actually at the end of season 15 is pretty nice too, not gonna lie. Stripped down 2 ladies singing it instead of Kansas. So yeah, that was an easy. Let's wrap that one out. Yeah,
That's awesome. Y'all both got that one.
now there's a lot of Eye of the Tiger is also iconic because of Supernatural, not just for Rocky. but only for one
Right.
specific scene and outtake. So, but yeah, that's a good way to end there. So let's read the comments real quick that we've gotten as we do. The fact that so many people replied this quick was impressive. So if there's more, we'll read them up later.
Is it the one you were talking about in the message? You said you put the thing up or whatever. Okay.
Yep. So and these are, even though this is actually it's on this channel, it's actually people from my It Doesn't Have to Make Sense channel that commented. So we got a few new subscribers that came over. So Will decided he didn't want to participate, so we were making fun of him.
Boo.
Yeah. So SPK, who's a longtime subscriber over there, he's a pretty cool dude. Said How to Save a Life. Now there's no particular order, so How to Save a Life, but specifically said Grey's Anatomy, which doesn't count because the show is shit.
Denny's dead, folks. He's been dead for several years now.
Now here's a weird one that came up twice that I did not think about. Smelly Cat from Friends.
Oh my God, yes.
So that's
immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nowhere else you're gonna know Smelly Cat from, though. So that's interesting. Yeah, there's no other reference outside of Friends, but that one did not come to me. Ah, this is a good one I didn't consider. Running Home to You from The Flash. That's a good song.
I don't even remember that song being in there, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good, and I think it's actually sung by them, so it's actually really good. If I remember correctly, that's at their wedding.
Okay.
That's at Iris and Barry's wedding, and it's Kara singing it.
I don't think I ever got that far into the show.
Yeah. Interesting. Another one. So this is why I like it when other people throw out a list. They're totally different from ours. Will and Grace, Unforgettable. I don't have that reference. I know the song, but I don't know it from
I
the
have
show.
that reference. I mean, it's so.
I assume it's Jack and Karen singing it.
It is it is Megan Mullally and oh God, Sean.
Yes.
What's his name?
Yes.
Doing it. Yes, and it is a very good version.
It's funny that I knew exactly who was singing it without seeing it.
Sorry,
it makes sense with the characters.
Yeah.
Big Will and Grace fan. So yeah, it is definitely a memorable point of the show for sure.
Nice. And then last on here is Do a Diddy from Full House.
Nice.
Interesting reference there.
If I was going Full House, I would do Kokomo.
I would have gone
Beach
Kokomo.
Boys were on the show.
Yeah. Or even their song that Jesse and the Rippers did. That was a cover of a Beach Boys song. So I mean that would have worked too. So yeah, either way, any major Beach Boy song would have been good from
those are some
Full
good
House.
ones, man. You said SPK came up with that
SPK said that one, yes.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's
okay.
good
job.
And then Callie, also, It Doesn't Have to Make Sense subscriber. In order, so I'm guessing this is from 5 down? I don't know. There's no numbers. Associate numbers, people. Rank them. Make our lives easy. Danger Zone from Archer.
Yes.
So that's
Archer.
already there. And
that's got to be number one.
I don't know if it's...
I'm assuming she's going down.
It could be.
So
it's hard to tell. Carry On That... Or I'm sorry, no. Running Up That Hill from Stranger Things. Makes sense. Carry On My Wayward Son, Supernatural. Smelly Cat from Friends. So two people said Smelly Cat. And then It's Not Easy Being Green from Sesame Street.
Nice.
So that was a deep cut there. I was like, yeah, why not?
Oscar the Grouch song.
Wow.
It's not.
Wow.
Wait, I thought that was.
No, It's Not Easy Being Green was Kermit.
It's Kermit, not Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the Muppet Show.
In a Muppet Show, not Sesame Street, but they probably replayed it in a different way in Sesame Street. So
probably because he popped over there.
I mean, you could go with
Rainbow Connection is from definitely from the.
And mine is
show.
Yeah, but the move I can't remember if they played it in the show, but I always love that Moving Right Along song that they did with the band, like when they were going to visit them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was Muppet movie, the first one.
Let me pop over to.
So I'm saying I couldn't remember if they did it on the show or not too.
I'm seeing if there's any other comments before I move on. Because
I saw my favorite meme. Sorry to get off track a little, but we're talking about the Muppets.
Yeah.
You know the coolest guy in the world memes, the Dosey Keys guy.
Yes.
it was the Swedish Chef, and it was like, I don't always hurdy dirty dirty
Yes,
dirt,
that
but
was
when I do, it's
hilarious.
flirty flirty flirp flirp.
Exactly.
Like,
I've
that one
seen
cracked
that
me.
meme. It's fucking hilarious.
That would crack me the fuck up when I saw
Yeah.
that.
So what actually helped was I shared the link to the video in the post on the It Doesn't Have to Make Sense channel. So that might be why people are coming over there. So if you guys comment after the fact, we'll read them on our next episode. It'll be fine.
Will
So,
comment, man. We will only make fun of you a little bit.
yeah, we'll make fun of him for not commenting. But guys, that's it for this top 5 N.Y.M.I.A episode. And yeah, leave your list down below if you want to participate, because it's always.
Do we get any comments on our last top 5?
We only got the one extra, and I read that earlier. That was the one that. So Christine did leave a comment, but YouTube was blocking it until after.
That's the one you said had a link in it or something.
Yeah, she posted links to all the songs so that we would know what they are. So I did read that out at the beginning of this episode, but you weren't here, so you didn't get to hear that, and it's fine.
You'll give me the rundown afterwards, or I'll hear it when it comes.
Just re-listen to it when it comes on. It'll be easier. Okay, let me just check. I'm checking all comments everywhere just in case, and I'm going to check the email just in case before I walk out of here. And someone goes, "You missed my list." But either way, good. Okay, we're clear. All right, guys. So like, subscribe to all the thingies, and of course, check out the main episode whenever it drops. We're multi-recording right now because the previous episode we recorded hasn't even been edited or outputted yet, and we're recording a top 5 and another episode today. So yay for YouTube time travel. So we'll catch you guys next time.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats.